Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Imagine That. I'm Tim Parker.
I'm Rick Ricart.
And we're looking forward to talking about everything Greek this week, right?
It's all Greek to us.
No. So, but Rick and I are just back a week and a half ago from our trip to Greece. Yep. We wanted to kind of walk through that, all the groups that we got to see, some of the sites that we got to see. The other people from the office, Zach and Caleb, were over there.
Correct.
We overlapped with us just a little bit, and right now we've got Andrew over there with several
Correct,
groups.
from our office. Yep.
Yeah. So Rick and I flew out to Athens. Just about about 2 weeks ago, really.
2 weeks ago.
So
a week ago last Sunday.
Yeah, a week ago last Sunday. So we flew out. We flew into Athens. We were able to spend a couple of days actually doing some hotel inspections.
We did quite a few hotel inspections.
Yeah. So hotel inspections through Athens. We got there a day or so ahead of the group.
Correct.
That was arriving. Rick and I were able to spend some time looking through hotels that our groups would be staying in, and that was really awesome. We got to see some new hotels. We got to visit some that we actually spend time with. Yeah. And then we use, and then we flew from Athens up to
Thessaloniki.
City
of two names: Thessalonica, Thessaloniki, Thessalonians.
Yeah.
It's quite an amazing city. Gives you a nice feeling of what Greece is without being in Athens, the big city center. It's a little more, I would say, cultural, family or atmosphere. Not the big city per se. I mean, Thessalonica or Thessaloniki is still quite a large city, to say the least. One of the oldest still inhabited cities from the time.
Yeah.
So it goes back thousands of years, naturally.
Yeah.
But
we got to spend, so again, we were up there just a little bit ahead of the groups coming in. So we flew up. You and I were able to actually walk from our hotel, get our steps in, right?
We got quite a few steps in.
Got our steps in. We walked from the hotel, which was about a mile and a half, which was an easy walk.
It was.
Took us 20 minutes or so.
Correct.
To walk that. Got to see the sights, walking right down the coastline or on the port area. Spent some time in some coffee shops, just visiting, and of course, what we like to do is food. Yeah. So, spent some time. We made our walked back. We're able to arrive back at the hotel just as our groups were arriving. So how many groups did we get to visit?
We had 5 groups that we visited that were staying actually at our hotel, and then we actually went over to another hotel where we had another group that arrived from the Colorado area. So we had quite a few groups that were there just in Thessaloniki itself, up north. And then from there we got to spend a day and a half with them and do some sightseeing, and went to Philippi, as they like to call it there in Greece, but we still call it Philippi, which was pretty amazing to say the least. And
trying to get used to call it something else different than what we call it was difficult.
It was.
And kind of funny as we were sitting in the theater where several of the pastors got to speak on Paul being in prison, and
it's truly amazing.
Yeah. So you actually get to visit that site too. I know in a little bit we'll walk through some photos and stuff, and we'll get to show you some of those things. So, but you get to walk through that whole archaeological site.
It's absolutely amazing. I mean, you could spend days there. Unfortunately, we only have an afternoon or a morning to be able to spend there, but it's incredible, to say the least. I mean, if you want to customize your own program and spend extra time there, it can be arranged, but the way that the average standard program is right now just a minimum 4 hours or so.
Yeah.
Which, seems like a lot of time, but goes very quickly.
Yeah, it's fast. So we loaded up on the bus from there and drove up to Lydia Springs,
which is probably one of my favorite sites in all of Greece to go to, and for what it represents.
Yeah, coming right out of Acts 16. So
Correct.
You want to explain what happened there, Rick?
Well, I mean, Lydia was quite well known. She had not only her dyes and her fabrics, but she was well-to-do, well-educated, and she actually took in Paul at the time, and due to her influence and what she was able to do, and most important, she was one of the very first converts to Christianity there in Europe.
Yeah.
So had it not been for Lydia and what she represented, today, Europe may not have been Christian. So
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's a beautiful sight.
gorgeous sight.
While we were up north, the weather was amazing. We got to spend all day traveling that day, and that was a very busy day. You said we got to spend 4 hours in Philippi, and then we moved north to Lydia Springs, and then we kind of moved our way back into Thessaloniki, back to the hotel.
Right.
Our groups were traveling, so you and I flew back.
We flew back.
We flew back that next morning to Athens, but the group went on and traveled down through the middle of Greece, right?
Right.
So that program looks like you would fly, excuse me, fly to Thessaloniki, you do all of the sites that we just were talking about, and then you begin to travel back south towards Athens, and you actually stop in Meteora.
You go Meteora, and you can take in Kavala as well, based on that, and then of course Meteora, which is where the monasteries are, right there up on the cliffs, which is again breathtaking, quite a sight and a beautiful place. Most of our groups love to spend time there, and just to be able to see it in the solitude, and also just the purpose of the monks that live there as well, and the isolation that they wanted just to be able to have their time with God. So it's quite remarkable. It seems a little odd that you might have that on a program, but it's probably one of the most requested places that we get, that people want to see when they're there in Greece.
Yeah. So those groups that were meeting in the north part of Greece and then traveled back, they were headed back to Athens to spend time there, but they were going to be jumping on a cruise.
Right. They either had a 3-night cruise or a 4-night cruise to visit the islands and so forth. I mean, Mykonos, of course, being one of the islands that they visit, and then going from there, next day would have been Patmos and also Ephesus, and then from there would have been time for them to go to Santorini.
Yep.
And then we also do the port of Heraklion, which is Crete.
Yep.
And then depending on the seasonality, sometimes you can even get Rhodes. So sometimes they switch them around a little bit.
Yeah.
Rhodes and Lemnos, I should say.
So, amazing trip, right? I mean, just the beauty of the water, the beauty of all of the sites. Santorini is pretty iconic for
It is.
the Greek Isles, so you get to spend quite a bit of time in there, right? About 4 or 5 hours.
4 or
I
5
think.
hours, depending on the ship and so forth. And that's actually referred to as the lost city of Atlantis at times. And you can see why when you're there and you get a chance to visit it. It's not only a beautiful, beautiful island. Of course, it's known for, also it has wineries. It's terrific food, lots of shopping. But just some of the most picturesque settings you'll ever see anywhere.
Yeah.
So we enjoy for that, and a lot of little churches.
Yeah, and of course Ephesus, and we'll talk some more about that in a little while. But so that group was traveling back through Greece, back to Athens, and you and I flew back to Athens.
We did.
To do what? We got to meet.
We had more meetings with our offices there, which was wonderful. And we're very fortunate to have such wonderful partners and friends that we've worked with for many, many years. Some of them go back 30 plus years.
Yeah.
And then I got spoiled. I got to have my son, Zach, and also one of our colleagues from our office, Caleb. They had actually flown in a day beforehand, and they were in Greece. So we had a chance to catch up with them, and then we started to explore the Plaka.
Yeah, we got to walk around the Plaka. We were able to shoot some video. We were able to buy some gifts, bring those back for wives and granddaughters and all of those good things. We got up one morning and actually were close enough that we could walk in for breakfast.
We did.
And spend some time, even before it opened up, we were kind of wandering around and waiting on the restaurants to open, and got to spend some time with breakfast. And that was, again, a beautiful morning and great to spend time together.
I know it sounds crazy because we keep talking about food, but the Greek food, not only is it so fresh, and the vegetables and all the different ingredients that they have, but the cuisine is fantastic. We really get to enjoy it. Sometimes it's nice just to get away from the hotel and just explore some of the sidewalk cafes, some of the local culture. I enjoy that. I love just to sit and people watch and have a coffee and enjoy myself.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was a huge deal, and it was packed.
it was packed.
I mean, we got to spend some time talking with, like you said, some of the offices that we work with over there, and they were just talking about that these are record numbers that are happening.
Yeah, these are very unusual times. Of course, a lot of it has to do with the impact with Israel and Israel being at war right now, and most folks not being able to travel there. But the reality is, even though they appreciate the increase in tourism,
Yeah.
many of them are saying, we'd like to get back to normal. We'd like to be number 2 or number 3 as the destination for tourism.
Yeah.
They're very happy to have other countries to be number 1 in that regard, because it's a little overwhelming, but needless to say, people love it. Keep in mind that Greece itself only has about 10.5 million inhabitants, people that live there, residents, should we say, and they're expecting this year to exceed possibly 30 million,
Yeah.
even possibly as high as 35 million. So pretty incredible. Even if you said instead of 10 or 10.5 million, even if they had 12 million residents and you still had 30 million tourists, it's still a 3 to 1. So it's pretty amazing in that regard.
Yeah.
We do have, and just to talk about it too, is we've had a lot of our groups that were scheduled to go to Israel have decided to transfer and go to Greece.
Yeah.
And I understand that a lot of people originally wanted to kind of wait it out and see what's going to happen with Israel and see if it would be over quickly. We all thought it would be. I'll be honest, in 30 plus years that I've been in this business, I've never seen a war last this long.
Yeah.
Usually 28 days, 30 days is about it. So the idea that this has gone on now over a year, Israel is definitely making some headway. We can't wait for it to be over. We can't wait for there to be peace for all of the people that are there. But the reality is they still have a little bit of work to still get done. And in the meantime, a lot of our groups are going to Greece. And we've been very fortunate. In addition to the site inspections and checking out the hotels and having an opportunity to meet with our offices and have meetings, we had the opportunity to meet up with more groups that were also traveling.
Yeah, and they were doing a completely different program
Yep.
than the ones that we met on the first half of our trip.
Yep.
And those were the groups that we had 120. Was it more than that? 120 people that were
I think
traveling?
about right around 120.
Yeah. So, and Caleb and Zach were both traveling on that, which was a 7-night cruise, which
Correct.
I've been on a long time ago.
Yes, that was the first one.
Yeah, it is indeed one of my favorite ways to do it. But that one it sails out of Athens and then sails up to the north part of Greece.
Correct. They
So you
went
don't-
north to Thessaloniki as well.
Yep. And they spend some time, so they spend time in Thessaloniki. I think they bounce out to Berea.
Correct.
They go up to Lydia Springs, the same, up into Philippi. And then they sail over to
If I understand correctly, they went over to Istanbul.
Was it Istanbul? Yeah.
Pamukkale.
Yeah, Thessaloniki, Ephesus. They went. Yeah, they hit Pergamum.
Pergamum.
They got to sail down and hit Ephesus and Kushadasi,
Yes.
and spend some time in Ephesus, which is Ephesus is just massive, right? I mean, it's this huge site that.
It's not only the largest open air museum in the world, archaeologically it is, biblically it's a phenomenal site as well. You'll actually have an opportunity when you're there to see, keep in mind that the site itself actually used to be on the shore of the Mediterranean, and today now it's a couple of miles off due to earthquakes and the change that's taken place over there as well.
Yeah, it's
but
unbelievable.
when you consider that Paul spent quite a bit of time there as well, it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah. So they did. Did Ephesus, and then they began to hit the islands, coming back into
Correct.
Athens again.
Correct.
You and I flew back down in. We got to meet the groups coming in, and then we actually spent a day with them before they loaded up onto the cruise ship,
Correct.
visiting Mars Hill.
Yeah, one of our favorites to say the least.
Yeah.
Of course, I often refer to it and people laugh, but as they say, it's where the hourglass actually was invented or took time.
Nobody
and
laughs. Nobody laughs.
That's okay. It's usually where they actually had the jar clays with the sand, and this is where Socrates and many of the other philosophers would have been meeting at that time. And I think this is probably the reason why Paul chose to be in this area and to say, you're talking about all these different types of, great ideas and concepts, but you have a place that's for the unknown God.
Yeah.
And so his opportunity was to share with them And they gave him the time, just like they all would have, to critique and debate and have their discussions, of him to say, let me tell you about who Jesus is and what he represents and why it's so important.
Yeah.
And this was just another phenomenal place to visit. It's right next to the Acropolis, the Parthenon, but it's still there today in its natural form, to say the least.
Yeah. So Mars Hill, Acts 17, you just talked about where he's strolled through and sees all of these altars to the gods, and he sees the one that says to an unknown God, and he says,
Correct.
let me introduce you to the creator of the universe. And from there, everything just kind of launches. We were able to walk up to the top of the Acropolis and visit the Parthenon.
We did, and again, quite a feat. There was a lot of people there, a lot of steps, which is
Wow.
natural.
Yeah.
But a lot of people. Again, when you're having the magnitude of tourism as they're having, you can imagine that literally there are probably, I would say, if you had to guess just with the number of groups and so forth, easily over 100 different groups that were up there at that time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was beautiful. The Parthenon, of course, built probably in 447 BC, so been around forever. Of course, it's toppled over through conquering nations coming in, and just probably earthquakes and different things like that. And they're putting it all back together, so it's quite the sight to see. So we spent time up there, I think, and then we left and kind of did a city tour, drove around, got to see the Olympic Stadium.
Yep, which is always a highlight.
Yeah.
And an opportunity to see where Nike for victory originates from. So you can actually see some of that there as well, which we take for granted.
Yeah.
We call it Nike, but they call it Nike.
Yeah.
So lots of little things like that.
Yeah. And then we transferred from there to, we got to travel with the group over to the ship.
Yep.
To the port, and they were able to load up onto the boat, which is a brand new boat for Celestial Journey. It's
Right.
brand new for Celestial.
It was a 7-night cruise, so it's your 7-night floating hotel.
Yeah.
Which makes it nice to pack and unpack once for seven days. Makes it very convenient. People really love that. In particular, so that's why we have a day or two in Athens in the front end and another day or two in the back end, so that they can do that. And even when they got off the ship, they then continued and went on to Corinth as well, and had an opportunity to do that in the Corinth Canal.
Yeah, that's a great spot to visit as well. See the Bema.
Yep, the Bema seat.
Yep. So, I mean, just so many different things. So if you've been to Israel before, then you know that reading Scripture comes to life. No different whenever you get to spend time in Greece as well. You get to spend time in all of these places that you've read so long about.
Yes.
We have a buddy who says you've been reading this beautiful black and white book for however many years, and you go and now it's in living color.
3D.
And it's real, yeah.
You get to smell it, you get to taste it, you get to feel it.
Yeah.
You get an opportunity to meet the people, which is, for me, I'd probably say the greatest highlight is the people and getting to spend time with them. And you also realize just what a small world we have. And we get to do it in today's modern comforts and everything like that. But back then, during the time of Paul, it was completely different. And of course, that's why he had multiple journeys and shipwrecks and had been in prison many different times and you name it. So it really puts things in perspective. And even when we talk about some of these different cities, the books in the Bible, from Thessalonians to Ephesians to Corinthians, the book of Revelation, possibly, and the island of Patmos by John.
Yeah.
There's so much that's there in culture and early Christianity.
Yeah, it's an overwhelming feeling to be there, to experience all of those things, and not only to experience them personally, but to be able to experience them with a lot of the people that you do life with, right?
I think that's the highlight.
Yeah. So, so we are back from that. We, of course, Rick and I came back, a week ago Sunday.
Correct.
Zach and Caleb came back, I think just this past Friday.
Right.
And we have Andrew that's over there with another.
We've got quite a few groups over there as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Greece is, if you are thinking about traveling to Greece, if you're thinking about doing this for your church, if you're thinking about loading onto a trip that somebody already has planned, there is no better time than now to do that, right?
Without a shadow of a doubt. And I would tell you, if you're even considering whether you're on already a trip that's scheduled to Israel and you want to look and transfer to one of our trips that we have that are scheduled for next year in 2025, you can definitely go to our website. It's the ittworld.com. And any of the sites, or any of the tours that we have listed on our website, you're welcome to transfer to based on that. And yes, the question is, how much of our monies will be transferred? 100% of the monies that you've paid to Imagine Tours will be transferred to any of the trips that you wish to go on there. So that's an opportunity. And for pastors that are looking or considering, now is a great time to plan your summer or fall trip for next year to Greece. And we have dates all the way through August of 2026. And if you're interested, we just came out with some specials that we're going to offer exclusive in March of 2026 as well, that we just finalized earlier this week. So we'd like to give you opportunities. I know that that's usually a very popular time due to spring breaks and so forth. So March and April, the weather's beautiful, and it gives you an opportunity if you have those in higher education or school or colleges, universities, that you would like to be able to take advantage, go during spring break as well.
So never too early to begin planning.
No.
Having conversation about it. Like Rick said, I mean, the numbers of people that are traveling over there right now, if you have specific hotel sites, if you've ever been before, and you have specific sites hotels that you want to stay in or guides, we really need to be having those conversations now.
Immediately. In essence of doing so, we have secured and blocked about 35 or 40 different departures between now and the end of August of 2026, just so we can have space to be able to offer to you, and also to be able to have pricing to be able to share with you now this far in advance. Not many can do that. Or if you have a customized itinerary or program that you want, feel free to email it to us at sales@ittworld.com. And we'll be happy to look at that as well. We've heard from many of you just over the last week, even just sending out this reminder that we were going to have a live stream. It's amazing how many people have reached out to us, so thank you. And also for the new requests. But for individuals that are on trips, or if you had canceled from a trip earlier and you'd like to be reinstated and to join one of our tours, we'd love to have you back and mention this live stream, and we'll do something special for you as well.
Looks like we've got Sam from over in Israel has posted on there. Just hey, good to see you there, Sam. We are praying for you guys. We look forward to getting back over and
we miss you,
some
Sam.
time to visit. Yeah,
to say the least.
So we're available to take any questions that you might, if you want to send in any of those questions in. I think while we're keeping an eye out for those, we'll maybe pop through some photos, and we can talk about what you're seeing on the screen.
Well, and one of the questions asked too, or people comment, is, so if there's thousands of people that are there at the Acropolis, it's laid out in such a way that you can easily have 50 or 100 groups there and not even know it, other than you can see the people that are there, but there's so many places to move about, and it's easy. I hate to use the word, Disney or Universal, but they have such a great way of having it organized that you're able to move about and not have any issues. So
and what you're seeing on the screen right now is one of our groups standing on Mars Hill, and in the background is the Acropolis. You can see a couple of buildings, the entryway up on the front that you actually walk up, that front right hand side behind the group. You see I believe the Temple of Athena back on the left hand side, and you just barely can see the Parthenon behind some of those front buildings there. So again, you get to actually walk up onto Mars Hill.
You do.
Yeah. And spend some time up there. Yeah, just the groups. There's some stairs that you can get up on top, and you can spend some time.
Excuse me.
You can spend some time teaching from up there. You can teach from down below. There's several places. There's more than enough room for groups to be up on top, just spending time.
I would say there was probably, when we were there, at least a dozen or more groups that were up there, and each one had their own place to sit and do a teaching or reading.
Yeah.
So it's very possible.
Yeah.
And we do have familiarization trips that are coming up. We're going to be announcing them shortly for the springtime of 2025. So we'll be getting that information out. So if there's any pastors who would like to go, we can either have you jump on one of our existing trips that's going in March or in April. If that's something that's of interest to you, please reach out to us at sales@ittworld.com.
Yep.
And we'd love to have you join on, and then we're going to be setting up a date as well. So we're excited about that.
Yeah. That question came from Mike Kramer. He's out in Colorado. So thanks for checking in with us, Mike. It's awesome to see you. Love to hear from you. Give us a call sometime soon.
Yep.
So.
We actually have a pastor's familiarization tour literally that just landed today in Thessaloniki that just started off as well. So we're excited about that. And we'll definitely have more of those. I will tell you, in the 30 plus years that I've been doing this, if you're a pastor and you've never been, I don't know of a better way for you to have an opportunity to get over there and experience it yourself firsthand at a discounted price, and we'd love to have you do it. But you do not have to go on a fam trip in order to lead a trip. Many have never been before, and it's very simple and very easy, and we've got study guides, and we'll walk you through the whole process.
Yeah, it's the familiarization tours give you the opportunity to spend time and maybe plan where you would like to spend time teaching from and different things like that. But as Rick said, not necessarily needed for you to be able to lead your own tour if that just doesn't work out for you.
Exactly.
So, what else? What other photos do we have here? We've Mars Hill there. Okay, one of your favorite spots, Lydia Springs.
Lydia Springs.
Yeah. So beautiful up in that area. Again, what you're looking at is almost a little theater area where you can do the teaching from, and then down below you can actually see the baptismal area where baptisms still happen right now, and where potentially that Lydia was baptized.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we have people that ask, can we baptize there? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It can be easily done. It doesn't have to be a long service, but because there's lots of different groups and people, but without a shadow of a doubt, you can do so.
Yeah,
and it's the same springs today.
Yeah, and I don't think we've got a photo of it, but that baptismal area is shaped like a cross.
Yes, it is.
Which is amazing. So
well planned out, to say the least.
Awesome. So with Lydia Springs, I think maybe we're going to look at some photos from the library in Ephesus, and this is our very large group that was on the 7-night cruise.
Correct.
So what's fun about this and spending time in Ephesus is they drop you off at the very top, and then you walk, and this is probably maybe a halfway point for the walk. And then you continue on down to the theater at the bottom of this. But this site is massive.
It's massive, and they haven't even uncovered the entire amount yet. They're still doing excavations today as we speak. If you actually check out our website as well, I think posted today, Dr. John Delancey, they've got a couple of buses that are there, and they were just in Ephesus today as well.
Yeah.
So we have other groups there.
And as hard as we try to stay away from food, Rick, somebody's driving us back towards it. Monique is asking the question, can all locations accommodate a gluten-free diet?
Absolutely, without a doubt. If you have any special dietary needs, we can accommodate them. That's not a problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
And just so you know, it's not unique. It used to be, but today there's so many that have special needs and requests. It's not unusual at all. So all we do is ask the information in advance. We provide the information to our offices overseas. We also inform our guides and the hotels, and they'll work with you to make sure that you can find whatever it is that you need.
Yeah.
But we don't want you to miss out at all. So,
No,
and also most of the breakfasts as well as the dinners, they're going to be a buffet style. So that gives you an opportunity to have a little more choices. And then if you need to have something that's made specific just for you, they're happy to do it.
Yeah.
So.
Great stuff. We'll continue on through our photos. Again, back to the ship. So just the different sites, the different meal locations, the Plaka, I mean, you name it. This is a trip that, that
trip of a
nobody should
lifetime.
miss out. Yeah, should nobody miss out on. So we'll take if we have a couple more questions pop up, but we have next week we're going to try to. So we had talked about doing a live stream every week.
We
right?
tried. And then for whatever reason, Mother Nature and everything else between Hurricane 1 and Hurricane 2, that definitely put a little damper on some of the things. The good news is we're here and we're safe and we're well.
Yeah.
We still have some cleanup and, even though it's not necessarily in the news today, please continue to pray for many of the people, not only just in Florida, which has been hit hard, but also the Carolinas and in Tennessee, Lord, that really there's many that are still missing. There's still many that are still flooded. There's many that are still without power. So please, please, please pray for them. We've got it really good here, and we're back into our daily lives, but there's many people that are devastated. Yeah. So please pray for them. Definitely please pray for the people in Israel, for our Palestinian Christian friends, our Muslim friends, and our Jewish friends. Please pray for peace and that there will be some stability and things will go back to some kind of normalcy in the near future. And please pray for all the people that are displaced in Gaza as well, Lord, that you would just wrap your hands around them and provide them with comfort and meet their needs, from humanitarian to everything else. We get to talk about wonderful trips and so forth, and as great as we get to talk about those things, there's also the reality of, there's many people today that are suffering because of the devastation of things that have happened from October 7th and all the lives that have been impacted and the normalcy. And those are probably the next things that we'll talk about in a future live stream in regards to Israel. And, the real question is, what to expect when tourism really begins to return and go back to normalcy. I think some of the questions that are also asked is, can people still travel to Israel? And I know that my answer is probably going to surprise a few of you, but the answer is yes, you certainly can. We actually have a group that's leaving next week. And so people are traveling. It is by choice. It's not something that we're telling you that you have to do. We are first and foremost concerned about your safety. And for the ones that have wanted to reschedule, we totally are in agreement with you. For those that are looking to go to another destination, we want to work with you. We know Israel will return, and I think it's just a matter of time. I don't think it's going to be a long time. I think the worst, hopefully, is behind us, even though I know that it's more prevalent in the news today of what's going on in the north. But all in all, I think things are going to get back to normalcy, hopefully sooner rather than later. So I think there's some other questions.
Sure. It looks like Susan has a question of how will lunch be eaten? Will it be on your own or as a group? Typically the group is going to travel to a spot and you will all eat together. Correct. As a group.
Your guide makes arrangements, so they're expecting you. They know you're not having to do it on your own. You don't have to worry about finding a place. So it's all very well organized, and they do it only with the exception if you have any downtime or free time where you're kind of exploring on your own. That would be the only time that you're on your own. And even at that, you can ask your guide for recommendations, and they'll be happy to do so. So we haven't lost anybody yet.
And we don't plan on it either.
No, so we're good.
So, well, that's great. Yeah, we look forward to spending some time with you guys again next week for the live stream. We talked about Greece and being able to transfer to that, but we have multiple destinations that you could potentially transfer to. Scotland, England.
Scotland, England, and the UK has been a great choice for many. We have also many going to Germany and doing the Reformation. Sure. Germany, Switzerland, and France. Yeah. So that's been phenomenal. Don't forget about our last live stream. We did river cruises. Yeah. And that was a big hit. We've had a lot of new groups for river cruises, which is exciting. We still have a few that we're in the process of finalizing. And we have dates now available also through September of actually through December of 2026. So we'd love to do a river cruise for you.
Sure.
And planning and so forth. Definitely now is the time to plan those. Again, they're small ships. They're 80, 100 people. It's not a lot. But please let us know, and you can visit us at our website as well. We have a whole river cruise page, and we're updating it with new dates and things like that. Or if you just want to hop on one of our groups or transfer, you can do so as well.
Yeah. And so over the next couple of weeks, we'll be doing some other live streams. And then November 10th, Zach and I will be taking off and heading to Switzerland, France, and Germany.
Yes, you are.
Where we may actually be able to do some feeds from over there, some live feeds. I'm getting a thumbs up from Zach that that's going to be a go.
I think that'd be awesome.
And be able to show you what the Reformation side of our world looks like. So
and you have a group of pastors going with you.
Yeah, a group of pastors that'll be traveling over there with us. So
Yep.
always exciting to get to see pastors go over and experience all of those things that are either brand new but that they've been reading about in books. To be able to spend some time to go back and share church history.
Yep.
And what's happened through the Reformation.
And we have another pastors fam going to Greece as well next month.
Yes, we do.
So we still have another one. So we have a lot that's going on. We're definitely excited about it, and we're making preparations now for 2025 for those trips as well.
Yeah. So reach out to us through email. You can give us a call at 863-709-9208. Would love to talk through what possible trips there might be for you. But get in touch with us somehow, whether it be email or phone call. We'd love to catch up with you. So until next Tuesday, we'll sign off and look forward to talking with you again around 3 o'clock next Tuesday.
Sounds great.
Take care.
Thank you for checking in with